All right, council, we'll go ahead and call our work session meeting to order with all of our elected officials present. 3 items on the agenda today. First up, Nate Slack is going to walk us through an animal shelter discussion or presentation.
All right, hello everybody. I sent you guys an email a few hours ago. If you haven't seen it, it is in your inbox. Just a PowerPoint presentation. It shouldn't take very long. Just wanted to give you guys an update on animal control and some of the stuff that we've been doing. So over the past year, I've been working pretty closely with Lieutenant Arnoldson and Trish Watson, just making sure that we don't have too many animals in animal control building, which was originally Stone Ridge, obviously, and now in our shelter. Yeah, so just, I guess next slide, just quick chain of command. So it's been going to Trish. When Trish picks up an animal, she gives a photo and all the information to Lieutenant Arnoldson, and then he emails that to me, and then I just get that up on the website quick as possible, just because if people are missing their dog, they're kind of frantic, and so it's good to get that up quick. Go to the next slide. So on the website changes, there hasn't been a ton I've changed. The original look was just kind of boring, and people weren't spending a lot of time on there. So I've updated it. There's a lot more links. It also talks about how there's no volunteer opportunities currently at the shelter. Talks about how you can donate items, and also directs you where to go if you want to adopt a pet or if there's impounded pets. So it matches the branding and the feel for all of our other web pages. So it's just kind of something I've been working on. Website numbers. There's been a little bit of a dip from last year. It's nothing like of concern. It's just because you'll see on the next slide that we don't have as many animals as we had last year. And so obviously when there's more animals, there's going to be more visitors. I think the more interesting thing here is just that there's people are averaging 48 seconds on each page, and the rest of our website is around like 6 or 7 seconds. And that's just because people can click on something and they're like, oh, I didn't mean to click on that. They back out. They go somewhere else. But 48 seconds on a page is it's pretty lengthy. So this is where it starts to get interesting. So adoptable animals, there was a big spike in December of 2023. This line chart shows from July 2023 until current day. And it kind of ebbs and flows. There's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason as to why we get a lot at one time. It can be the economy. It can just be people losing their pets. They go on vacation, they come back, and they're gone. So there's not really a reason why it spikes and it dips at times, with the exception of at the start of this calendar year is when we started to make that little transition because we were going to be going away from Stone Ridge. When they got wind of that, they had a bigger effort to help us get rid of the animals. Obviously, having 30 there wasn't ideal. And then when they didn't have when they didn't know for sure if we were going to be a no-kill shelter or not, I think that really kicked things into high drive for them. So they started working with shelters to make sure that animals were getting out by the time that we had our own facility. And so you can see from November 2024 to January 2025, we lost probably 20 animals during that time. Loss is probably not the best way to put that. These animals survived. They were relocated, we'll say. But it's kind of cool that we haven't had more than 10 at a time since the start of the year. So it just kind of shows that what we're doing right now is working. That's the next slide. What hasn't been working. So there's kind of some low-hanging fruit, and that would be working with the local rescues and kind of putting it on blast on social media. These two things haven't worked super great. One is because I reached out to the local shelters that are on the slide probably a dozen times over the last year, and I've never received any feedback. So I've never had an answered call. I've never had an answered email. I've left voicemails, and I've never heard back from any of them. I don't know if it's just because we're a city, so they don't necessarily want to work with us. If they have preconceived notions about Riverton City or something because of something Stone Ridge may have said, I don't know. But we haven't had a whole lot of luck working with them. Social media is interesting because we have more Facebook followers than anybody in the Valley. which is something we've been really trying to build up. The problem with that is we can have 22,000 followers, but it doesn't mean that we have people who are interested in adopting pets. And if they're interested in adopting pets, it doesn't mean they're interested in adopting the kind of pets that we have at the shelter. So they may be looking for a girl dog or a boy dog or a certain breed or a certain age. And that's, to my knowledge, we haven't been able to have any animals adopted because of social media posts. The posts do really well. They get 500 likes and 100 shares and a bunch of comments, but it doesn't translate to any adoptions. One thing that has been working is Trish Watson mentioned a friend she has who works at Stone Ridge, or worked, and she created a Facebook group that's the volunteers with Riverton Animal Control. And they basically just take a picture of the animal, they give it a name, they talk about some like the characteristics, and then they have certain people that they know who have a network of people who are interested in animals or groups that kind of provide those services. And so we've had a lot of success with that apparently. It stopped for about a year, but we'll be picking up again in the next few weeks. But that's one thing that has actually been working for us. Going forward, there was just four ideas we talked about yesterday in a meeting. One is just coordinating with neighboring cities to see what they do. Some cities like South Jordan just partner with Pet Finder. It's like a third party. I don't know how much they pay, but it's kind of just give the animals to them and they worry about everything. We're going to be doing something different in the monthly newsletter starting next month, where we have a certain section of the newsletter that's basically featuring an animal that we have ready for adoption. So the first one we'll probably do is there's a yellow lab. His name is Yeller, and he's been there for about 4 months. So we're just going to try that and see if that can spark an adoption by any chance. Other things are just creating short videos of just the dogs playing, maybe with kids, because that's always one question people have, or are they good with kids, are they good with cats? So videos just kind of showing, yes, they're okay. And then the last one is adoption events, and that's a big one because with the brand new animal shelter, I think there's a lot of opportunity to market the shelter itself and what the city did to make sure that we had that facility. Some cities have done events with PetSmart. The problem with PetSmart is there's so many hoops to jump through, and now that we have our own facility, it doesn't make any sense to leave our facility. Just leave the animals where they're at, they're familiar with. And so one thing we talked about was having basically an open house to show residents what the shelter looks like, the services provided inside, and then a chance to get to know some of the animals. So it's stuff that I think is going to work. It's nice now that we don't have a ton of animals, so it's not like a super pressing need. But I think we have a plan if that number does spike again, to really attack that. So,
sounds great. Thanks, Nate.
do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, less than 10 animals. I think the short video clips would probably be fairly successful. What was the name of the organization South Jordan has reached out to? You said Heads?
Pet Finder?
Pet Finder.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's some third party. I don't know a ton about it, but based off of some of the other sites that I've seen, I imagine they're probably paying quite a bit for it.
Councilmember Perucci, then Broker, comments and questions.
Yeah, sorry, not a question. Just wanted to tell you thank you. I appreciate your hard work on this, and let us know what support you need to keep pushing the animals out and adopting them. I appreciate your innovative approach to this.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Broker.
My question is actually slightly tangential, but I noticed on the budget amendments, one of them is for completion of the animal control shelter. It looks complete, so I would assume that's just because we have invoices still to come?
So when the budget goes out, the budget goes from July 1st to June 30th.
Right.
Right? And so even though we did our opening in August, September timeframe, we still had contractors, we still had things that were going on to try to get that ready for that.
Oh, that's it. That's right.
So it's
Thank you.
that timing of
Sure.
when our fiscal year, which is a horrible time for construction season, but
Yep, so it was complete. It's just simply that those invoices came in after July 1. Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Council, any more comments or questions? No? Thank you, Nate.
Awesome, thanks.
Appreciate it. Up next, 5B, we got an update on House Bill 48 with Fire Marshal Watkins. It's House Bill, but Fire Marshal Watkins.
House Bill 48. So this is what the fire marshal does on a daily basis, I found out. Just to be very direct, this presentation was directly taken from the Forestry, Fire, and State's website that they shared in a public meeting. I've adapted it just so I can deliver the information that's relevant to Riverton City. Next slide, please. The WUI code adoption. So House Bill 48 encompasses many things. The one thing that will affect Riverton, that Riverton's already adopted, and that is the WUI code. This is the WUI code, the Wildland Urban Interface Code. It's basically fire code laced with building code. If your structure exposure scores were high enough, which they are not, you would define an area within your community where this would apply. So having adopted the WUI code in 2010, you're already meeting the intent of House Bill 48. I've confirmed that with Forestry, Fire, State, and Lands, so we're good there. You will hear a lot about this bill throughout the state of Utah. You will hear about it in a lot of the different municipalities within Salt Lake County. One of which is the high-risk WUI boundary. The structures will be assessed a fee in the state of Utah. Looking at all the scores within Riverton City, I don't believe any property owners will be impacted with that. Lot assessments will happen in the state, and then insurance requirements will change, and we can talk about those in just a second. So this is what was shared in the public meeting, and this is a great example of wildland urban interface. Riverton is affected by wildland urban intermix, so it's just different as far as how the fuels have been laid out. Any community that adjoins directly with the interface, you're going to see these WUI boundaries designated. Next slide, please. 90%, you'll see the measurement in here, 90% of conflagration within a community due to wildland fire is due to the embers and the ember castings. So the fuel modeling the state used is all centered around ember casting and fuel modeling. The others are direct flame contact, which you can get from that wildland urban intermix, and then radiant heat, which you can get there too. But again, 90% of the fire growth is what's trying to be addressed with this bill. Next slide, please. You're going to hear about structure exposure scores. So that takes the fire likelihood mixed with the fire intensity mixed with the ember load equals the fire exposure score. When you hear about a high-risk WUI area within the state of Utah, you're going to be looking at structure exposure scores 7 and above. In Riverton, I saw no score above 5, and it was hard to find the 5s. And I'll show you all that information next slide. Here's directly off of the URAP portal. On my right, you'll see my little line there, and that's where I captured some 5s. And then you'll see the adjacent communities around Riverton where they have the urban interface area. You'll see the structure exposure scale 2 up there. Again, 5 is where we start having that conversation, hey, is a boundary necessary within this community? And about the same time we start having that conversation within Riverton, we run out of those 5. So from your fire code official perspective, I believe I know you fall into the category of the communities that don't need to define a boundary, and I've confirmed that with the state. Next slide. So just as a reiteration, a reminder, we adopted the WUI code in 2010, meeting the intent of what was going to come in House Bill 48. We're good there. We have a bunch of other stuff going on. As a reminder, when you hear about fees being assessed by Salt Lake County, that's the direction of the state for this effort to improve this program and make this program work throughout the state of Utah. Next slide. This is just, again, the municipal impact. Adopt before January 1. We meet that criteria. We don't need to define that boundary map within Riverton. And then this goes through the high-risk component in the WUI zone. There is a lot of content related to this conversation. If you own property outside of Riverton, if you own it in the urban interface, you're going to be impacted. If you ever want to go through that content, or if you have any further questions, I could sit down with you and take you through all of the content. It's very comprehensive and very detailed. So with all that said, any questions? Next slide.
Looks like it.
More high. That's actually a picture of the high-risk areas within the state of Utah. Come January 1, the state will share that, and I believe you'll have the ability to put in your address. Again, not in Riverton because our scores are really low, but you can actually see if your house is impacted by that high-risk area, and you can see if you're assessed that fee.
Awesome.
So,
Councilman Perucci?
Yeah, thanks, Chief. I appreciate it. So looking at that map, it looks like the vast majority of like the higher risk areas are in or close to my district, which makes sense because of the creek and we're closer to just kind of some undeveloped land. My question for you is there anything of, and some of it's Councilmember McKay's district, I think, just kind of looking at the borders, it's kind of hard to identify exactly, but is there a value in identifying a boundary? Like,
So-
or is it the idea with many regulations to not be?
I really like the value of identifying a boundary. But to be very direct, there has to be the need to identify that boundary.
Yeah.
And I've reviewed Riverton probably more so than any community. And anything that isn't adjacent to the interface itself, to the hillside, that's where you run out of that conversation of where you do it. And it is an impact to the community, and I'm not afraid of that, right? The effort of this is to make the homes resilient if impacted by wildland fire and fortified so that wildland fire doesn't impact that structure and other structures. But it is definitely applying that code, that building code within that jurisdictional boundary. Having adopted the WUI code, if at any point the legislative body believes there would be value there, you could adopt that and apply it, no problem.
And I'm not asking because I want to. I'm just curious, as other councils are thinking about this, is it ideal to, if there's not a need, to not do it then, basically? Or is it,
if the
is
need
there,
was-
what value would there be in designating
To
a
do it
boundary?
if we didn't, so.
Can I ask something along those lines? My thought would be, if a legislative body adopts a boundary, that might impose some type of
That's what I would assume.
increase in fire insurance or something for the community, and where we don't have anything north of 5, really.
It doesn't seem
no
like
real
it
need.
needs to
So
happen.
this is strictly off of the measurements being used, right? And I need to be careful when I do this. This is the state's data. This is their measurement, the structure exposure score. And the suggestion and guidance from the state is starting to talk about identifying that at the 5s. Many communities, and I can reference those, haven't designed that map until they hit those 7s. We have no 7s in this, and the data, and I'm great with the data, but the data is dated. The data that is currently within this is 2017 to 2018. I know Riverton very well, and I've actually taken the Salt Lake County Fire Warden up and driven them around to show them what this municipality looks like in 2025 versus what it looked in 2017. And that's kind of the finding of fact of this conversation of how not only Riverton, but the adjacent communities have been developed too.
That was going to be my next question is how, I really appreciate this information, it's helpful, but how often is it updated, or is there a process to monitor the risk to see if it evolves?
Yep, so monitoring the risk, the new data or new map layer will come out, I believe, January 1, and I'm going to look at that. If I see any variance or any difference in the data we currently have, I'm going to over-communicate and make sure we have that information. This is my daily, and my role currently is going through this with every community, and many communities do a full adoption of their map depending on what their fuels are like within their community. Riverton is definitely more urban now than that urban interface, so that's where we're at.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Any others? No.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Chief. All right, up next, we got Carrie, the sleuth that's uncovered The missing water. I mean, to set the stage as he's coming up here, that was,
I'll just come up here because I don't want to sit down.
we talked about this a while back, but
Yeah, so I'll just
We-
get started real quick if you don't mind. Me and the mayor sat down a couple months ago or several months ago and talked about the water usage in Riverton and why it's higher than it should be and why our water loss rates are as high as they are. So he challenged me and my staff and my team to come up with ways to lower that percentage. And so I took it back to staff and we came up with a couple ways of, one, fixing water leaks is high priority. Don't let them get there. Don't let them call them blue stakes. Don't wait 2 days. Call an emergency. Get them fixed ASAP. Offer overtime. Whatever we got to do to get those leaks fixed as soon as possible, so we're not wasting water into the ground. Secondly, we looked at HOAs because we knew there was something happening there that was causing an issue, and we were more or less losing water. So we looked at the design. We investigated it. The design came back that these are all done with redundant sides, so there's 2 to 3 different connection points. Only one connection point actually has a meter. The other connection points have what we call a weighted check valve. So we did our own investigation and verified that if we were to isolate those check valves, what would it do to the meter? So we had a guy looking, and it was about 5 gallons a minute. We'd shut that off, and just by shutting that off, it would jump to 15, 20 gallons a minute. So we're like, okay, there's a problem there. So we looked at options. We sat down as a team again and said, what are our options here? We looked at replacing the check valves with newer. Maybe they wore out. Maybe they just weren't working functionally. Called around supply houses, kind of got an idea of if it would still fit, not work, whatever. And they said that's really not what that's designed for. Because anytime that pressure changes, that weight will open it up a little bit and let it keep flowing. So they've really been getting free water for 20 plus years in some of these communities. So from there, we went to a third-party testing to make sure that all these communities, if we were to isolate those, would still have the fire protection needed to meet state standard. Once the third party went through and did all their testing, they sent the reports to our fire department, the marshal, and all that to verify. They verified everything met all standards. At that point, we went out and did our last read of that community at the month end like we usually do, and at that point, we shut off the check valves. Right now, our issue is after we've shut them off, we've gone a month, and we're like, okay, what are we going to do now? So Nick's team, my team, went through and did another read after the month and realized some of these HOAs are going to get hit pretty hard. And they're about ready to see that bill in the mail in the next couple days. I just grabbed, there's 25 communities right now that we know of. Still looking, investigating, but we believe we're going to be real close to that, maybe 1 or 2 more. They're not showing anything, but here is the 10 highest users from that. I took out names, account numbers, so there's no worries there. Account 1, obviously just that one account, over their average usage is going to be about $16,000 in 1 month extra, which at 96 units is an extra $166 per unit. After that, it drops way down. Obviously, 2, 3, 4, you can see it. Their overage from average is 2,000, 2,100, 1,800, 1,500, 1,400. And then after that, it just keeps dwindling. After 10, there's only like 18% of all the other lost water is in the other 15 accounts. So they're under a $4 difference per unit. So what we ask now is how do we want to help the residents or HOAs by just letting them see the bill? Do we try to send something out real quick to say, hey, you're going to see this? I mean, at this point, we needed this information before I could even do it to get the bill information so we knew what the costs and stuff would be to do the presentation. So if I'm not mistaken, Nick, I would say this week or next, they'll get their bill in the mail.
I think billing will be later on this week, so I would assume it go in the mail, so they'd be seeing it either this weekend or early next week.
Yeah, so we're going to start getting phone calls.
Carrie, sorry to interrupt. Make sure you do address specifically the number 1 account.
Correct.
There's another issue that we're aware of, or at least they've acknowledged. Maybe focus on that a little.
Oh, yeah, I will. What Kevin's talking about is over the past couple years, we have gone out to this community and told them they have a water leak. And they said, no, we don't. Our bill has never gone up. Our usage don't up. Residents from this community would call us and say, there's a leak and our community's not fixing it. What can we do? So we have told them there's leaks, they have not wanted to fix it and everything like that. So they have been getting this water free of charge for some time now, and now the city is going to be accurately reading these meters and getting their correct usage and bills, which will help the city in the long run for our water loss report that we give to the state, and also accounting for correct water usage with Jordan Valley.
Council, yeah, that may prompt a lot of questions, but I'm glad that you found this. It was a little troubling to see this much loss, because where this conversation started, as you started to describe, the math wasn't mathin'.
Right.
I mean, we were suddenly being told by Jordan Valley Conservancy District we were using over 6,200 acre feet, and then doing a rough calculation on our per 1,000 gallon and how many 1,000 gallons are in an acre foot. Whoa, something is off, and we should have been capturing much more revenue in our water fund, Fund 51, than we were getting, folks, over the years. So the good news is this has been identified. We think that by correcting it, we're going from a double-digit leakage number to something that's kind of along the norm or the average.
Yeah, we did a quick calculation on this, and there's around 19 to 20 acre feet of water in this 1 month that we weren't paying, or we weren't charging for, but we were getting charged for.
So we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for some
For some
several
upwards of 20
years.
Yep.
You know, that adds up. You do that cumulatively, that effect in the water fund over that long. We'd be in a much different state today. It's obviously probably impossible to go back and charge these folks, but I'm a proponent of saying, look, you've been free riding for some time.
Correct.
Let's do the communication that needs to be done, and that's what we want to discuss here, what exactly you all would like to see, but I would love to see that imposed immediately. And the last point I'll make is I'm glad, and kudos, Carrie, to you and your team for uncovering this, because I'm glad that this was identified before the rate study conversation that I know is going to be pushed into next year, survive, beyond me, but I'm glad that this is caught. So I have Council Member McDougal, Perucci, and Baroker that want to comment or question.
Yeah, so I just want to follow up on account one. So have they now identified and fixed their leak?
They haven't seen their bill yet, but all the leaks that we know of in that community that we know have risen have been fixed at this time.
So the leaks that all the residents have been reporting have been fixed right now.
Correct.
So do we have yet a cycle where the billing represents a fixed system?
No, I don't believe so. I don't know when that leak was last fixed.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking is when we're looking at this dollar figure, this is reflecting with a leak in place, which could be one of the reasons we have such a great disparity. But with the leaks fixed, that dollar figure could go down.
Correct. So you'll see a usage per unit there. I took the units per each area and kind of broke it down. Realistically, a home should use about 4,000 gallons of water per month. That's on average without outdoor usage. They are using 31,400 per unit per month.
And that reflects the leak that was also in their system.
Which I still think there could be some just not surfacing that we know. But this will help find that because they're not going to want to pay this bill.
Okay.
Councilmember McDougal, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie or Kevin, there may not be a huge leak. I mean, the way the check valve thing functioned, they could have had a lot of water just flowing through that check valve side that wasn't metered, and that's the whole point. So
but now it'd all be metered, so that shows that there's still a leak there.
But we do know there were some leaks, it sounds
31,000
like.
feet per unit, yeah, that's tells me there's still that.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. Councilmember Perucci?
Yeah, I know for a fact there is a leak in account number one. I've heard about it from residents, and it's in my district, and it hasn't been addressed. And it's a long time that it gets addressed. This awesome work. Thank you. Like saving taxpayer dollars, helping sustain the planet, like doing everything in awesome fashion. I mean, you deserve a bonus. I was joking with you previously, but seriously, like this is a huge savings to the taxpayers. So thank you to you and your team. Conversation about the communication process. I would definitely like to communicate as soon as possible to the HOAs themselves. But I also want to communicate directly to the residents because having lived in an HOA within Riverton City and talking to a lot of residents that do, there is a tendency, well, nobody likes to have to raise prices, ever. And if anybody's ever able to shift the burden of the reason for raising those prices to somebody else, they will. And so I'd like to eliminate that opportunity and have us communicate as a city directly with the residents that are going to eventually see this price go up in their HOA fees. Because at the end of the day, like, that's what's going to happen is residents are going to have to pay more to their HOAs, and they really should have been paying more for years, and adjust their water use. And so my preference would be for, one, immediate communication with the HOAs, but also communicating directly to each of the units that are not going to receive bills, but should have this information in hand when they have this conversation with their HOAs.
Yeah.
Would you recommend just starting with the top 7 users? Because after that, all the usage is pretty accurate as far as where they should be. The ones above that, I still think there's leaks. I mean, anything over 4,000 or 5,000 a month per unit.
I mean, if it's not going to cost us that much more, I would say communicate with all of them, because I think that there's going to be because I know for a fact that these HOAs are going to have to increase their prices. Several of them do not have rainy day funds of a scale necessary to meet this cost immediately. So they're going to have to jack up prices immediately.
They're probably going to point the finger this way.
And they're going to point the finger this way. And I'd love to just say, like, hey, sorry, this has been something that should have been addressed for years before. I'd also, one of the things we've kicked around is looking at possibly doing like a discounted tier to like ease people into this. I'd be supportive of having a structure that allows for, because it's one thing to have to go from paying your current rate to being billed the entirety of it immediately, but telling them this is happening and having a months-long process, phasing it in if they've fixed big leaks. I'd be in favor of that, because the reality is some of these HOAs can't pay this right now.
So I get where you're coming from. Just keep in mind the lower ones, 11 through 24, might actually have a savings if we do that. Like
Totally.
less than what they're currently paying.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we do that for all of them, but I think we should try to have a program of flexibility that allows I'm not saying to give them a discount forever, but staggering the enforcement process in a way that allows for people to get caught up within a reasonable time frame. And we've done this with we have a precedent of doing this with other massive rate hikes.
Just to chime in there, I think if the council were to give the staff direction to do that, I would advise that we are advised to treat it equitably across all of these problem children, even if, because the most recent one, you may recall, we did increase the senior rate, and the council gave us direction to, because it was such a dramatic increase, to phase that in. And so we actually did, I believe it was like 20% of the, like an 80% discount, 20% of the proposed rate. And then we phased it in. I believe it was over a year, wasn't it? It was over a year is what the council directed us to do there. I'm not recommending a year on this one at all, by the way. I think the max, in my opinion, would be 6 months, because we're going to be looking at potentially having a rate increase come July 1 anyways. But I do think if you were to advise us to do that, we need to be equitable across the board. And I think the important part to realize, though, is specifically item 1, the city already has a process for people when they have a leak, where they can request help with their leak, but part of that process, they have to prove that they fixed their leak.
Yeah.
And then we would be working with them.
Yeah, and that's to your point, though, Kevin. That's why I don't want it to be in perpetuity, or even a year-long process. But we're going to be coming back with them with rate increases probably starting July 1, too. And like HOAs are one of those, and I'm assuming our third-party rate consultant is going to say, this is an area where we need to increase the prices. And so if we take the full rate increase into consideration, what they should have been paying with what we're likely going to be telling them they're going to need to pay after July 1, I don't know if that, I'm talking for a long time.
No, there's other council members that want to weigh in, so I'm sure they're going to speak to this topic, because we want to, I think, get it out there as soon as possible from a communication standpoint. I think the question largely is, how to apply that delta, that change. So Councilmember Heyman, Broke, or McDougall?
So my thought is just, as we're going through this communication process, do we have the ability to show them some visuals, like here's where the issue was, here's what the check valve idea is, so that they can kind of get a real full understanding of how this came about?
What I don't want to do is give them where the valving is and isolations, because then someone could just go turn it back on or whatever without us taking it out and blind flanging it, right?
Yeah.
Just in case we ever had to have it for emergency purposes. So I wouldn't want to like necessarily give them that. I could
Well,
definitely
not
meet
that.
with each HOA and discuss why we did what we did and how it went down. But
I just mean more of like a drawing, a simple drawing, that, you know, here's your main metered valve, there's these additional valves that were to keep the pressure up at a certain value. You know, those have not been operating the way they should have, and so we've shut them down. Now everything's flowing through your meter. Just,
Yeah, I
to me,
mean,
it
we
seems
could-
nice to have a visual in there.
I could draw it on a napkin.
Yeah, that'd work.
Thank you. Councilmember Baroker and then McDougal.
So we have to assume that most of these homeowners are not aware of how much water they're really using. Is that true?
I don't live in an HOA to know if you guys get to see your usage or not, so.
But my
No,
guess is
that's
that
not true.
Master meter.
Oh, it is true. Okay, so if you live in an HOA, you may not be aware of how much water you actually use. So I think it would be very unfair to,
Yeah, they don't have
Please.
individual meters.
the individual
Right.
units, the dwelling units don't have
Right.
individual meters, so.
so I think you have to give them an opportunity as an HOA to communicate to their residents what they have learned and give them an opportunity to cut back on their usage before you immediately start billing them. That would be my opinion. We phase it in over a period of time. How long that would be, I don't know. How often do HOAs meet? Monthly?
On a monthly basis.
Or
Yeah.
sometimes they only meet yearly? Semi?
Well, they're going to have to force meet. I mean,
Right, agreed.
to Kevin's point, you know, you don't want to prolong this beyond 6 months, I would say.
Agreed.
At the, yeah,
At the most.
The furthest out.
Right, so maybe 90 days, but you got to give them a chance to get the information, meet with their property owners, their homeowners, and educate them that what's going to happen before you expect them
But
to
you're
pay,
saying,
in my
give
opinion.
them the new bill, but there might be a time frame to allow them to kind of catch up, as Andy was saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councilmember McDougal, McKay, and then back to Prucci again.
Okay, so I'll be the hard nose. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for years that my residents have been subsidizing other residents. So I don't want to give them a time, particularly when you're telling me on number one, we went to that HOA, we tried to figure out a problem, we've tried to reach out to them, and they've ignored it. They have not tried to discover the leak. Their own residents are saying we got a problem here. This is gross negligence on their part, in my personal opinion. And so now you're asking residents who take care of their bills and everything to pay for negligence of another party. And I mean, it's one thing. So personally, I mean, I think they do. I agree with Councilmember Perucci. I don't think we leave this up to the HOAs to communicate, because obviously the HOAs aren't doing a great job. Their own residents are going around them. And so I think we have got to be the ones who are communicating this. But I think we need to let them know. For some of you guys, you've had 20 years of dollar cost savings that other residents have been paying. And I don't think we should carry it on anymore personally, because again, we're asking other people who are on tight budgets and are also experiencing tough financial situations to finance other people's bills. So that's my take on it.
I'm glad somebody else is hard-nosed on this diet. Councilmember McKay.
Thank you for finding this. One of my questions was, who owns and put in the pipe? Are they city-owned pipe, or is it installed by the HOA?
So when the HOA was developed, they had the contractor install it. We own up to the meter and up to the check valves. And then they own everything inside and maintain it.
Okay, and so the problem has been within their property.
I mean, yes and no. The check valve is the biggest problem, which they installed, but at the same point, it was on the plans to install it that way. It's just not working the way it should have worked.
Okay, all right. You know, to just start throwing out some numbers, I think anybody that, you know, is less than $10 should definitely start. And, you know, maybe, I don't know, I just imagine these almost 100 homes that jump 166 a month. That, you know, and in talking to the food pantry, they've been seeing increases, and I wouldn't want our residents to not have food, you know, for the first couple months. So I don't know, just as a proposal, maybe anything less than 5 would be go ahead and be implemented, and then the other ones at $10 increase a month until they were up to where they should be. And so, but excluding the top one, you know, so maybe like the 14 through 34, it would go up by $10 in January, and then $20 in, you know, total increase in February, $30 in March, and then 34, you know, in April for that one, just as a proposed, so that would be over 4 months, you know, and I don't know about the top one, but just throwing out an idea.
Thank you. Everybody's had an opportunity to speak once. We've got a few others requesting Prucci, Broker, and then McDougal again. So, I mean, staff, I don't know if you've been kind of getting a sense of the feedback. It sounds like communication immediately and directly, not just to the HOA, but to the end user, which I agree
so just to be
with.
clear, we had always intended on that communication immediately. In fact, we had planned on having the conversation this evening. We're going to finalize the drafting of a letter tomorrow that will go out with the bills. All 24-ish of these accounts are right now are going to be put on a TLC watch list, where utility billing is pulling them from the main billing file that we send over to our processor that sends everything. We're still billing it as you see it here. We have to. I mean, this is now water usage. That's our way of being able to then report to the state that we're getting our water loss down into the single digits. I think it's important for everybody to remember that there is always a mechanism, at least from the culinary water standpoint. Our ordinances read a little bit differently for each, where residents, account owners are always welcome to submit requests for the Board of Equalization, which is yourselves wearing a different hat, to look at their bills and address it for whatever reason, whatever rationale that's there. I definitely advise, if there was any sort of consideration, I think we need to treat all 24 of these the same equitably, because they all are affected, some more than others, but they're all affected by the same check valve issue. It's not just that these ones are, there might be other things internal to within the system that might be causing some of them to use a lot, because my concern still is really, like Carrie was saying, 1 through 5 probably have a bigger issue because they're using more than double what a normal household uses. So there's probably some other internal issue. I think the important part also regarding any potential discount or consideration, to try to take it down to the cost per unit. We have it there for informational purposes, but if there was guidance from the council to say, hey, cap it at like $10 a unit for right now, that's, to be very frank, is nearly impossible in our billing system to do. The main way that we need to do this is either based on adjusting the charge per 1,000 gallons or some sort of percentage discount on the whole. That's really the only mechanism that, am I fair to say that, Nick, in terms of the billing, to make it so that it's so labor intensive?
But just billing them and giving them net 90, net 120, the HOA, they give them some type of latitude there. But yeah. I don't know if we're going to get consensus here, really. I've got to leave and go visit with the Riverton High School SBOs for a moment before they come up here. So I'm going to turn it over to our Mayor Pro Tem.
I was just going to add one other thing. If we can see that letter beforehand and know which HOAs are going to be affected in our areas, so that we could reach out to them potentially, I would appreciate that, especially if it's, you know, in the top maybe 6 or 7 of these. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Perucci.
Thank you. Yeah, so I would love to know, I would love to have a list of the HOAs in my district that are going to be receiving this letter, and I appreciate that you've got the letter ready to go almost. I heard you say the 24 letters, so that's to the HOAs. Do we have a game plan to simultaneously send a communication to every resident in those HOAs right now, or is that?
We've discussed that. To be honest, we're not entirely sure how. I think what we're going to have to do is utilize the tools Jason normally does, like for Planning Commission and zoning, but it might end up getting to some people that are not part of the HOA, but I think we'll just have to address that with the letter saying, if you are an owner within this HOA, this pertains to
Or
you. If you're
whatever.
not, we apologize for sending this to you, because we don't really know how else to do that. I mean, we could potentially get a list from the HOAs and just put resident, but even that still is not helpful. So we're going to do our best.
I'd love to have that go out as soon as possible, like in tandem with the other one, my recommendation. And I completely agree, Councilmember McDougall, that like residents have been getting this extra water for a reduced rate, but it's not necessarily like they've done something wrong or it's their fault. The reality is there has been a system failure that has gone on for a long time that has missed it, and we have found it thanks to the hard work of our city employees, but it's not like, this is not punitive, this is just correcting an imbalance, and I am very supportive of them being required to pay their what they're using in their fair share. I just think that doing it in a way that allows them to get their budget somewhat in order, because this is happening in the middle of their budgeting cycle or after their budgeting cycle has already happened, will at least allow some flexibility. And so that's why I'm in favor of the percentage. I would also just like to throw it out there that when we talk about waste and recycling, these are the communities that have been subsidizing other residents' extra waste and recycling cans. And so it's not the same thing, and it's definitely an imbalance still, but there has been subsidization the other way in our city too. So I think if we could try to find a way to reduce the burden on the individual families and allow those HOAs to balance their budget somewhat. So that's why I'm in favor of the percentage, but within a 6-month window.
I agree with Councilmember Perucci. That's exactly what I was going to say, only he said it much better, so thank you. Councilmember McDougall, please.
Yeah, and I appreciate, that's a good point. And so I don't have a problem. I guess I would go more of a 3-month window. That's what I'd be more comfortable with. But definitely a percentage. I don't want to be picking winners and losers. You know, who's to say $5 doesn't send someone to a food pantry versus $160 versus $25? So I think it has to be a percentage versus us just up here randomly saying we think this and we think that for a resident. So, you know, I guess my biggest concern is it's not just a cost issue. I mean, 31,000 gallons of water per unit is ridiculous. That's, the biggest problem we're having here in the state of Utah is we don't have any water because people aren't using their heads. And I'm willing to say that's people not using their heads. So, I don't want this to go very long, because that's just, as much as we have messaged and tried to talk to people about conservation, this to me reflects people completely ignoring that and acting, I don't know, to me I look at that as selfish water use. So anyway, if we do something, I would like to keep that very short, because I fear the longer we give them cushion, the more the attitude of waste will continue. That's just, whenever government subsidizes something, that usually always seems to be the big case. So are we looking for, I'm sorry, I might be overstepping. Are we looking for a consensus today from us, Kevin, as far as what kind of a payment program?
So yes, and I'm going to say it this way. I've already heard, at least from 3 people I've been taking notes, that you feel that we do need to try and help in some way. So I feel like at this point, even without 2 of you saying anything, we already have a consensus that yes, we need to try to help in some way. I believe I have heard through different conversations that nobody wants to go beyond 6 months. Is that a correct assumption as well?
Yes.
So beyond that, 3 months?
Looks like 3 months.
3 months.
Based
Okay,
on the head
3
nod.
months. I think that's going to be solid there. And then from there, I think at that point, probably the simplest method would be more of a percentage than it would be anything else. I think we can still entertain any potential leak adjustment that we've historically done. If they can get their leak fixed and find it and prove that they fixed it, we can go through our leak process that we normally do. And that goes the same for any of them, because I truly believe maybe 2, 3, 4, or 5 also have a leak, maybe just a smaller one. But beyond that, I believe we have enough consensus, and I just leaned over to Ryan saying, do you feel we need anything in another council meeting by way of a resolution? He felt as long as we can get some very clear, which is one of the reasons why I'm repeating myself a little bit right now, to make sure we all have that clear direction. We'll have it recorded on the minutes. And then what we can do is, like I say, these guys are on a watch list. We're going to be watching them closely, and we'll keep you in the loop. We will keep you abreast of what's going on, ultimately what we settled on and decided, and heck, even on the 16th in the next meeting, we could bring it before you, or if not then, in January.
Okay, so if the council will indulge me, I'm just going to rehash everything one last time so we all are on the same page. Letters going out to the HOA. Council will be made aware of which HOAs within their districts that's going to affect. Letter will go out to individual residents with our best ability of identifying those, recognizing we may have residents who are outside, and we'll just have to work with those. 3 months to come, a percentage of the bill will be allocated to everyone, but then 3 months, everyone goes on to the real-time billing. Did I get it all, council?
Does that sound correct? Agreed?
Yes.
Thank you, Councilmember McDougall.
I just
Nice
wanted to make sure we
summary.
were all on the same page, so thank you.
I think we are. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay, the next point on our agenda is just council reports, which you'll see here on the work agenda and also on the council agenda, council meeting agenda. So is there anyone, if you want to put your light on, if there's anybody that wants to speak in this meeting? Okay,
Mayor
great.
Pro Tem, do you mind if I do a city manager update right now then?
Are you on the agenda?
Yes. Mayor, council manager reports.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hicks. Go ahead.
I just wanted to update everyone specifically on the South Valley Aqueduct project.
Yeah.
There were some mailers that went out saying that they've received night work approvals. That did not come from the city. That was, I'm going to choose my words wisely. Jason, slap me if I say something I shouldn't. Another governmental entity gave them the authority to do it. They have been made aware that we have not given them the authority. At this point, my understanding is it's going to be very minimal night work anyways, but again, we have not given them the authority. So if you hear from your residents, I'm looking at you, Councilmember McKay, because I think that's going to be the bulk in your area. That's not something that we've given them approval for at this point. Have we received the application?
No, they haven't made any application to us, and the way we do have ability under our noise ordinance to grant waivers for night work, but it is for specific events, meaning a contractor could say we're going to pour concrete overnight because of the heat. We can grant a waiver for a specific date and event, but not blanket waivers saying, hey, if you need to, you can work after hours. So what that mailer or the door hanger that went out implied that they had received that blanket waiver to work after hours. That is not correct. Any work that they do after 10 p.m., before 7 p.m. Would be subject to our noise ordinance. We've made that clear to them.
Thank you very much for that information. All right, are we prepared to adjourn? Motion? I move to adjourn. Thank you, McDougall and Ferrucci. We are adjourned. Oh, all in favor? Yes. Aye. Thank you all.
How's it going?
Jamie, are we set? Okay. Well, everyone, thank you. Welcome you out to our city council meeting here tonight. I know we've got quite a few presentations, so we want to get going. Appreciate your patience. We have all of our elected officials present here today, and we're going to commence, as we always do, with an invocation. Councilmember McKay has that, and then our Fire Marshal Watkins will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance of that.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for the opportunity that we have to meet together as a city and a city council, and we're so grateful that we have the opportunity to live in this great city and in this state and this country where we're able to enjoy so many freedoms. We're so grateful for the amazing staff that our city has, for the great job they do keeping our city safe and providing our infrastructure and our utilities and the fun events that our community is able to enjoy. And we appreciate their dedicated service. And we appreciate our good mayor and his family's years of dedication that they have put in and given to our city to help improve it and keep it the great community that we live in. Please help us that we will be able to recognize great community members tonight, and that we will also be able to make wise decisions and always keep in mind the best interest of our residents and our community at large. We're so grateful for all of our many blessings, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Audience, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
Thank you, Councilmember McKay. Thank you. And thank you, Chief, or Fire Marshal Watkins. I'd like to, as chair of the meeting, I want to be able to move up, Council, one of our presentation recognition items, and that is our Silver Rush Proclamation, item 13B. We have all of our student body officers here, I think almost everybody. There's 20 of them, 8 school-wide, and I think 4 for each grade, sophomore, junior, seniors. So yeah, they started their Silver Rush, their annual Silver Rush, just yesterday. I was honored to be able to attend that opening ceremony, opening assembly. We have, I'm going to stand up here. We're going to give you guys the floor in just a moment. I think we have the SBO advisor as well, Katie, here. Thank you, Katie, and then Principal Waite, also with Riverton High School. So. Folks, this is a real treat. I don't know if some of you are unfamiliar with Silver Rush. It's kind of hard to miss it. But December 1st here, yesterday through December 19th, is the Silver Rush season. And this is something where every single year, these students go ahead and select a charity and raise, through service and odd jobs and other efforts, they end up raising funds. And to the tune of, in years past, it's been hundreds of thousands of dollars. They've now raised millions of dollars. And this is something they've been doing since 1999, since the creation of Riverton High School. So it's really an incredible tradition that's been established here and something that is so well received and welcomed in our community. It really, these individuals here you see before you, they really assume the leadership role in our community here over these next 3 weeks. And it's really impressive what they do year in and year out. And I would just like to read a portion of this proclamation that says, Silver Rush is recognized for its significant financial support to local charities that impact our community. However, it is appreciated even more for the personal change it makes in people's lives, including the lives of the students who serve by uniting as a force for good. And Silver Rush is set to begin once again with Riverton City wholeheartedly supporting their efforts. And we will and help promote and raise awareness of this and the charity you've selected through our communications department across all of our social media channels. So I therefore, Trent Staggs, Mayor of Riverton, do hereby proclaim December 1st through December 19th as Riverton High School Silver Rush season and encourage residents within Riverton High School boundaries to support this commendable event. And I want to turn the time now to Katie and also Seth as the SBO president. If you'd like to say anything, yes, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Katie Borgmeyer, and I have been crazy enough to be over Silver Rush for 15 years now. It's great. It keeps me young. But first of all and foremost, I just want to say thank you to Mayor Staggs and everyone here in Riverton City and Bluffdale City for the support throughout the years. You guys, what a better example than these 20 individuals right here. It's really easy to say, we'll do it tomorrow, or somebody else can do that. But these 20 individuals are such a great example to their peers and to the community to go out and say, no, let's do it now. Let's get it done. Let's do it this way. We're going to do this. We're going to go find other ways that we can serve others. And honestly, there's no better feeling than going out and completing an odd job. And it's what everyone comes back and says, oh my gosh, do you remember that one time at Odd Jobs? Do you remember this? I mean, I can't remember them all because I hear 100 every night for the last 15 years. But it is such a great thing. So thank you for letting us come out and serve you and participating in all these years. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
There is nothing more I can say than thank you. Everything that Riverton High School has ever built Silver Rush upon is its community. It is the only reason we are able to raise as much money as we do and make the impact that we do. I want to say thank you for the 19 people in front of me, because these people are the greatest people I have ever met. And the only reason they're like that are because they're family and their community. And who else to owe that to than you? One thing I have learned being here in Silver Rush is that Riverton High School gets a lot of the credit, when in reality, it's all for you. It is everything for these people. So to everyone here, thank you so much. You are incredible.
Thank you all. Thank you. We'd like to go ahead and now present you with this proclamation and take a photo, and we invite Principal Waite also to come forward, please, and council members to join us to step down here off the dais.
We're gonna have to do like the tier thing, so short people come here. All right, fantastic. Look right here, everyone. See me. Okay, big smiles. 1, 2, 3. Couple more. One more. Perfect.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, council, allowing me to make that change in the agenda. They have a lot of places to go here tonight, and we wanted to be able to send them on their way as they're out doing all kinds of service. Let's go ahead and proceed with the presentation recognition section. We have some Christmas card winners in the house tonight, and also some Riverton Choice Award Excellence in Education recipients from Midas Creek Elementary and Foothills Elementary. So I know a lot of you that are here remaining are there to support the winners to these winners of our Christmas card contest. Let me go ahead and step down here and present So our Christmas card contest is something that we started, I think it was in my second or third year as mayor. I think maybe the second year in 19 or so. We love it, and we love the opportunity to have all of our youth submit entries. And we've received this past year hundreds and hundreds of entries. It's hard to go ahead and select just 3 that we really, really like, and even harder to select an actual winner in the card that we send out to, I think over 500 now is our list as a city that we send out to other city mayors, elected officials, school district officials, and everybody who's on our Christmas card list as a city. But I want to recognize and congratulate first off, our second runner-up, and we're going to put this design up here in a moment, but here is a copy of the card that Shambhavi put together. Very awesome. Thank you. So as our, just a moment, we've got some extra cards for you that we printed off, and a card from me and a coin, and then also a gift certificate. So you're, being second runner-up, you got a $50 gift certificate, okay? That's fantastic. Congratulations. And we'll have everybody come up here as soon as we're done. First runner-up, I know this last name. All right. This is Annalise Barton, and this is a copy of her fantastic artwork. So, again, very excellent card. Thank you. We've got a gift certificate for you as well for $50. You want to come forward to get this? And our winner this year, we'll show the Christmas card, is Priscilla Rose. We've got this card, and that's the inside that we've sent out to some 500 across the state. So, Priscilla, you are a winner this year. And your award is for $100. So, we'd love to have the all three contestant winners come forward. Let's take a picture. Let's get one with the city council, and then also another one with your families to come up. So why don't we start with the families? If you guys want to have a picture with all the support, and then we'll have one with the elected officials. Yes, let's have everybody go ahead and come up. We'll start with Priscilla. You don't need to bring the cards. It's fine. Okay, it's fine. Or you don't want to. You don't want to.
All right, look right here. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, awesome.
All right, big smiles. 1, 2, 3.
Right. Okay.
Perfect. All right, look right here. 1, 2, 3.
Awesome, right here.
1, 2, 3. There you go.
And if we can get our top three to come up with all the city council, please, let's take that picture. Let's have the winners right here. 1, 2, 3. Priscilla.
Okay, fantastic. Look right here. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
All right, congratulations again. We want to now recognize those Riverton Choice Awards for Excellence in Education to Midas Creek Elementary first, and we'll have that presented by Councilmember McDougall.
All right, Midas Creek, my favorite area. So we're going to first, is there anyone here from the Midas Creek administration? Come on up. Oh, I know you're from Midas Creek. Yeah, I've seen you in the park. That's all right. It's politics. It's always warm. And you are? Excellent. So we appreciate our principal, Teresa Christensen, being here with us as we honor these students. So first, we're going to invite our youngest student, teacher Trish Calhoun. Is she here? She's not. Perfect. I'm going to give that to you, and if you want to give it to her, no one's going to know the wiser. You are the principal, so you're...
I don't know. I have students here that will tell.
Oh, okay. All right. Can we have Kinley come up? Kinley Pace, and come stand right here by your principal. Give her a round. Yes, thank you. This is what Kinley's teacher had to say about her. Kinley is a well-rounded student. She dedicates herself to doing her best in all areas and looks for opportunities to learn and grow. You will find her contributing to discussions, sharing her ideas, and fully participating in her class. This has allowed her to learn from others while helping them to also learn from her. Kinley is truly a kind person. She cares about everyone she comes in contact and is a friend to all. If she sees someone sitting alone, she will be the first to approach them and sit with them. If she sees someone, there we go. She goes out of her way to help others feel included, students and adults. Kinley is the best example of an outstanding student. Well done, Kinley. We love a picture up here. I didn't do my hair for no reason. All right. Enzo, where are you? Come on up. Right there, perfect. Enzo is an outgoing, hardworking student. He has boundless curiosity, which extends to his learning. He wants to learn about everything and will ask questions, listen to others, and gain many different perspectives. Enzo will make everyone he meets feel like they are a friend. His outgoing personality draws people to him, and he treats everyone with kindness and friendship. Enzo's not afraid to try new things and will use those experiences to learn and grow. He recently tried out for the Midas Creek podcast team. I'm available if you need a guest, all right? And is using this opportunity to work with new people, research new topics, and be a voice for Midas Creek. Enzo is an excellent example of an outstanding student. Well done, Enzo. And then just really quick before we get pictures and invite parents up, it's interesting, tonight you got to see 19 of our high school students who are out serving and doing their best for our community. Those spots will be replaced with students like this and from our other elementary schools in our schools. And so as I've had the opportunity to teach these 20 years, many of them stood in these positions, and down the road we expect them to see in those positions at the high school too. So we really appreciate what families do and the involvement that these students have in our community. So well done, guys.
All right, look right here. Big smiles. 1, 2, 3. Couple more. Perfect.
All righty, now we're going to take it a little further west to Foothills Elementary School. Do we have anybody from the Foothills administration here tonight? Awesome, no worries. Let's start off with Mrs. Alicia Lee. She is coming up here. She is the teacher that we're recognizing tonight. So we've got... likewise, the other one, we've got a certificate for you, and then a little goodie pack with a gift certificate. All right, now stay up here, please, Mrs. Lee. Alrighty, so this is written by your administration. Mrs. Lee is an absolutely masterful teacher. The engagement she gets from her students is simply smashing. I like that. With a challenging language like Chinese, it requires an energetic and ambitious person to keep those minds engaged and moving. Mrs. Lee has the remarkable skill to have every eye on her and every ear listening for her every word. She is a sublime teacher. Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Obviously up here. We're going to do a picture at the end. Alrighty, next up is Nixon Heiss. Nixon with a large cheering crowd. Nixon, here's your certificate and goodie bag with candy and a gift card. Thank you for what you do. Awesome. So, Nixon stands out as a shining example of responsibility, respect, and perseverance. He is always quiet and considerate in the halls, fully engaged and ready to learn in class, and never gives up on assignments, no matter how challenging they might be. Nixon's kindness and inclusivity make everyone feel welcome and valued in our classroom. Your teachers are grateful to have such a hardworking and positive role model for his peers every single day. Your teacher feels so blessed to actually be your teacher. So great job, Nixon. And then last but certainly not least, Elise Myers. Come on up, Elise. I got a certificate for you, also candy and a gift certificate. Elise, do you mind standing on this side with the others? Mom, can you get the picture still from there? Just stand a little further up so your mom can see you. There you go. Awesome. Okay, Elise always puts forth her very best effort in everything she does. Your teacher says that they are so impressed with your determination. Elise cheers on others around her to help them do their best as well. And I can also say, just to see you interact with your family, that not only is Elise outstanding in the classroom, but obviously an outstanding sister to her siblings and very much engaged in the family. Before we get the picture, also to moms and dads and grandparents, thank you for what you're doing, because obviously you're doing something right to raise kids that can be recognized by this, and that has an impact on the community. So thank you. This is as much about them as it is about you. So thank you for what you do. One photo up here. Mom and dad, if you guys want to come up and get pictures.
All right, okay, look right here. 1, 2, 3. One more. Perfect.
Congratulations again to all of our winners, our award recipients here tonight. Great work. And yes, I want to thank the families and all those that have supported them in getting them here to this point tonight. So thank you. We'll go back to the original part, or the first part of our agenda item, which is citizen comment. So I want to open it up to the public. If any of you would like to make public comment, for those that may need to leave, feel free. But if you have something you want to address the City Council on, please step forward, be given about 3 minutes. We do have one item for public hearing tonight, which is an amendment to our budget. If you're here to speak to the budget amendment, we'd ask for you to wait until item 15 on the agenda. Otherwise, if there's somebody here that would like to address the council, please step forward and give us your name for the record. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, or the citizen comment portion of the meeting, and we'll go down the line with elected official reports. I think we need to start with Councilmember Hammond. Anything to report on tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have a lot to report on. I did attend the National League of Cities that was in town here, down in the Salt Palace and so forth. It was actually a really good event. Lots of information to learn. Enjoyed learning there, interacting with, of course, mayors and other council members from cities all over the country. I think there were 3,000 plus people there representing different cities, and it was a really good event. Lots of vendors as well to learn about. I was able to do some more research, found a company here called American Ramp Company. They specialize in skate parks, in all-wheels development parks, different things like that. They've got several different pictures here in their magazine of things they've done right here in Bluffdale, Harriman, South Jordan, different things like that, where they've taken advantage of retention ponds and things like that, and been able to make use of those as an entertainment facility for the people and so forth. So it was a great event. In the future, it's expensive to send us all over the country, but it might be worth it to always have at least two members of the council or so forth, or the staff and a council member head out and investigate that each year. So it was great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Broker.
I have nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember McKay.
Thank you. I was able to attend, the Interfaith Council had a meeting also during that conference, and we were able to listen to Elder Gary Stevenson and Sharon Eubanks talk, and I was glad that we were one of the just served cities, but also I was able to talk to someone else at the table, and she said in their city they have the Lions Club and the Rotary Club, and even she said she started out as a church calling, helping facilitate their city parade, and that led her to be interested in deciding to run for the city council. So I thought that was a good idea to use some of those nonprofits and get different groups like that involved in some of the city events. And so it was a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Perucci.
Yeah, I also attended. It was nice that it was in our backyard that we were all able to go and learn. And one of the things I found that was valuable was learning from other city leaders that have gone through similar challenges and hearing about their mistakes that they made so that we don't necessarily have to do those same mistakes. And so I was talking to one guy that from a community in North Carolina that's about similar size as us, a little bit larger, and he was talking about some of their challenges with zoning and infrastructure, and it was interesting how much of a mirror it felt like I was looking into, and we were able to kind of troubleshoot some ideas on just on the side of the other programming. It was really interesting. I also had an opportunity to participate on a panel at the conference. It was about how partnering with local businesses can drive upward mobility. That's the official title. What I like to call it was the Chick-fil-A panel, because it was me and 3 people from Chick-fil-A. But it was great. It was a fun opportunity to have a conversation about how communities can work together with local businesses to drive change. And we've got some great businesses here in our community that not only employ residents, but also work to meet the needs of the community, whether that's through donating their time or resources or being a focal point for community action. And so it was fun. Also, the same time as the interfaith thing, which I also attended, there was the Mountain View Corridor hearing or town hall or public event that UDOT held. I believe it was at Midas Creek? It was at one of the schools in Riverton. And so I went back and watched, they had a YouTube video on that. And so there's going to be a lot more engagement from UDOT on that. But we definitely need to be engaged both as at the city level, which I know we are, but also our residents need to be engaged and provide their feedback and comments to UDOT on how that process is going to unfold. I'm overall optimistic, but the devil's in the details. And so I look forward to continuing to work with you guys and with our staff, who I know are all over it, to make sure that those details work out for us.
Thank you. Councilmember McDougall.
I don't think there's anything I can add to that, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right, and Kevin, anything from staff you'd like to report on? We didn't, maybe in the work session.
I actually reported after you had stepped out on the work session, but I did think of one other thing just for those that are interested. I've already invited the new council members, but the Utah League of Cities and Towns, does their annual elected official training. It's this Saturday. So if you're interested, I can get you more information for those that want to attend. I sent an email to all of you as well, but just a heads up there.
Thank you. Anything else? No. Council will go to item 14, the consent agenda. Is there an item on the consent agenda a member of the council would like to remove? Councilmember McKay?
Mayor, I propose we approve the consent agenda.
Broker seconds.
Any discussion to that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. Motion carries. Let us go now to item 15. And this was the one public hearing for this evening. Nick, on the budget adjustment, I know you've already sent that out to council. I didn't get any questions, but if you have anything you'd like to add before we open the public hearing.
No, I just want to remind everyone, kind of as we talked about earlier, these represent projects where, again, because of our fiscal year, invoices are coming in after the fact. This is that cleanup, that reconciliation as part of our year-end process so that we can keep moving forward and doing what, we originally planned on. So I have no other comments, but I'll be happy to answer any questions from
Thank you. Staff, or council rather, any questions of staff before we open the public hearing? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Would any member of the public like to speak to these proposed budget amendments? And Jamie, anything received electronically? No? All right. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Turn it back to the council for any further discussion action here this evening. Councilmember Baroker.
Mayor, I move we approve resolution number 25-58, approving amendments to the 2025-2026 fiscal year budget.
I'll second that.
Motion is seconded. Any further discussion? Jamie, could you conduct a roll call vote on this one, please?
Councilmember McDougall?
Yes.
Perucci?
Yes.
Baroker?
Yes.
Haymond?
Yes.
McKay? Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Move to item 16. Kevin, I'll let you go ahead and level set this one.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I want to be very clear as I level set this one. The purpose of what we're looking at here and discussing has absolutely nothing to do with any potential development projects adjacent, nor does it have anything to do with any potential land transactions that may or may not be occurring at the front of the park. 100% no bearing on it whatsoever. I want to give you a little bit of a timeline so that we're all on the same page. Most everybody is aware of this, but I think repetition would behoove us here, and this way we also have record of everything as well. Nearly a year ago is when in our strategic planning meeting we talked about the skate park. We talked about the fact that it is in need of repair. For the, I'm going to say it, the lay person to walk over there and really try to analyze what is needed to be repaired, it's not easy to catch, to be very blunt. When I first went over there, I didn't catch some of the issues that you have. But when you start putting your hat on as a skater or as a rollerblader or a scooter, you're starting to realize some of the problems that are over there. In January, when we discussed it, we didn't feel it was as dire to the point of we needed to close it, but simply, hey, we needed to start having the conversations about potential budgetary ramifications, planning ahead for potential repair or replacement. Since then, as we all know, we've been doing some additional digging, including reaching out to different companies to help us with this. We actually had reached out to 3 of our vendors that we generally work with for recreation type projects and facilities. They usually are the ones putting together playgrounds, bidding on all those types of things. And we asked them if they could help us analyze our skate facility to determine what can be done to do some repairs there. 2 of the 3 all pointed us to the 3rd. That 3rd contractor is the one that they all said is the one that kind of specializes in all of this stuff. They're the ones that would have the best opinion. And they're the ones that you all are aware of that we have shared with you, where they came in and said, sorry, we will not repair that. We will replace it. We will not repair it. We will tear it out and replace it. Okay. Fast forward a little bit into the summer. As we know, we did switch insurance carriers, and as part of the process with our new insurance carrier, which is Utah Risk Management Agency, they came out and inspected all of our different facilities, or the majority of our facilities, as kind of an initial inspection. Kind of a separate thing, but important for everybody to understand. Part of how they rate us for our rates and our coverage with them has to do with they score us for all of our different things that we do internally for risk management and whatnot. The first 3 years, we get a 100% score, while they are giving us a list of things we need to work on and fix. And so that's part of what they're doing, is going through and inspecting all of those. That inspection occurred the first part of October. And at that point in time, our loss prevention person went out there with our risk manager and inspected the skate park and said, you need to close this thing. This is not a skate park that you should be operating right now. You do have some liabilities. You need to close it. At that point in time, you may recall we had continued the conversation of we need to close it, but the feedback I received from everybody is we need to see something in writing beyond just that simple conversation of you need to close it. Our loss prevention specialist, who is also the safety expert, it has taken him obviously this long to get that report. We reached out to him, and after hearing you all saying we really need something in writing, and we pressed him and said, okay, you need to really get this report going. It's been a while. Because yes, we know you told us, but we need to get this report going. That is why you do see now the dated report of December 1st, that you see the report coming in front of you. We also did reach out to our insurance broker and asked them to go out recently. They went out recently. They sent me an email to the same effect saying, close it. This thing needs to be closed. You have many issues that need to be addressed and fixed before you proceed. So I want to be clear, the purpose of this decision that's before you tonight is simply to, for safety reasons, close the skate park. The intention that I would be doing is putting up a temporary fence that would close it down. Any future use of the skate park and what that might look like needs to be discussed. I just didn't have that intended to be this evening. So right now, as what's before you is really for some dialogue on we need to close the skate park for safety reasons. I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, before turning over to the council, I'll just add simply that, reiterate what you said at the beginning. And secondly, this decision, council, I think, could have been made administratively. You get a report like that, that's something that typically they like to take on. But in light of all the conversations we had surrounding this particular facility, I frankly didn't want to make that call. I want to be able to have it in a meeting. You can debate it. It's really on you as to whether or not you want to take action here tonight. And in so doing, what exactly, if you want to direct staff in a particular way. I've heard from many residents that they're concerned about that entry to the park. We did get a bid, I think, to throw up fencing if that was the decision and kind of close it off, or if there's some other way in which you want to explore securing that facility and just direct staff to do that. That's an option as well. But this again has no bearing. If this council, this is going to be beyond my time, frankly, but if this council going forward wants to end up rebuilding that facility at that exact location, you want to move it somewhere else, whatever you want to end up doing. That's a subsequent conversation, but I felt it important that in as much as we've got the report right in front of our face right now, we should at least discuss it and preferably take some action. I know that's what our risk management side would say. So I'll turn it over to the council. Councilmember Haymond.
So my question on it is, when what legally are we talk about closing it, how do we enforce that? And are we looking to put a fence around it? What type of fence? What can we do that allows us to mitigate our legal, liability, but at the same time not spend a truckload of money in enforcement and so forth?
I'll chime in first, just what we plan, and then you can tie in from the legal. We have a company that we've asked if we can rent a chain link fence. It's 6-foot chain link fence, correct?
Correct.
We would lock it off. We would put signage up that is just closed for safety reasons. It would cost the city $1,500 a month to rent that fence. So we can cover that initially through our operational budget. I would hope that we don't continue doing that beyond maybe 2, 3, 4 months before we ultimately make a decision what we're going to do. We'll probably need to have some conversations about budget adjustments, depending on what the plan is. Again, we've already started the process of looking at other feasible options and things to do, but we just didn't feel we should be prepared to have all of that discussion tonight. Go ahead, Ryan, for the legal side.
I'll just say for the purpose of this meeting, the process of fencing this property off is what's, I think, minimally necessary to cover the city's interests, legally speaking. And I think that the remaining discussions as to what to do with the park long-term just need to be unpacked over time. But there's no question in my mind that there's, unless there's some creative solution that I haven't thought of, I really don't see another way short of just ripping it out right now that would basically protect the city legally speaking.
So, in doing the chain link versus like the, you got all the orange hazard fence you see up all over the place, that wouldn't be sufficient?
That's not going to be considered adequate if a kid gets in there regardless. And we've actually had experiences where the city's experienced direct legal exposure because of faulty fencing, which parents relied on and didn't wind up protecting children. And we've had those experiences here as a city. We've learned from them. And we need to remain true to those lessons.
Do we need razor wire?
It's an option. We could explore that. Now I'm picking up. Yeah, you're picking up what I'm putting down. So that's productive conversation to have. But.
Anything else, Councilmember Heyman?
No.
No. All right. Councilmember McKay, Perucci, and Baroker.
Thank you. I know that I went out and, inspected the skate park, and it's been a couple months ago. It was in the fall. And I did see some corners that were broken and some things like that. But I also want to bring to your attention, in the letter, it says in 2 different areas that it needs to be made safe, that it needs to be properly repaired both in the middle and at the bottom. And so it doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't say in the letter we received it needs to be torn out. And so you mentioned, we went with 3 contractors that we normally go with. Could we expand that and look for more options to repair it and make it safe? Because if I remember right, a few months ago when we were talking about it, we even asked our police chief and like fire emergency, how many times has emergency had to be called there and things like that. And I think it was only like 1 time in several years. And so in my mind, it doesn't seem like it's, been an area that we really feel like. And it even reminded me of if you go out by the golf course, and I know kids have been hurt on that sledding hill, and they put up signs, use at your own risk and things like that. And I know that doesn't always, remove all liability from the city, but I was just wondering if we could expand that search and consider repairing it and looking at some of those different options.
So, very good question, council member. Yes, I mean, that could be an option. At this point, keep in mind what Utah Risk Management, what our loss prevention specialist is saying is, you need to close it until it's repaired. They're not going to chime into whether or not it can or cannot be repaired. We definitely could, with the direction of the council, go try to find more contractors. The only question I would ask is where do we want to draw the line when after X number of contractors say, I don't want to touch it? Is that sufficient? Where's that line drawn? I can pretty much guarantee you we will probably find a couple of concrete contractors that'll say, yeah, I'll fix it. But will it pass the tests of the safety inspectors that are specialized in skate parks and in confirming that, yes, that is a good fix, that's a good patch that can be the test of time. I'm not the expert. I can't say that whether or not that is the case. And again, I'm not coming here to say, no, we can't do that. That's definitely something we can do, and we can go through and try to find others. I've even, Councilmember Heyman brought up this American Ramp company. Craig's already actually been in communication with them to possibly have them look at and do a more in-depth analysis on what could be done. Now, they wouldn't be the ones doing the repairs. But and that would also be $14,000 just to hire them to look at the skate park and say, hey, here's what we think you can do, and then we got to go find the people that can do it. Again, I think the important part there is maybe the council needs to determine, do you indeed want that skate park there, and replace it? Which, again, I think is a separate conversation, but a very valid point.
Anything further?
No.
No. Councilmember Perucci.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Ryan, do you mind answering the question about the sign thing? Because I know I asked you that previously, because that was where I was thinking as I was preparing for this meeting, and you had a really great legal answer that you communicated to me that I think would be helpful for people to understand.
The short answer is that a skate park is a facility that is designed to accommodate children. Children are not of a legal age or capacity to appreciate the risks of a dangerous facility just because they've read a sign that says that it might be dangerous, that they have to do something at their own risk. Everything a child does is at its own risk, and they don't appreciate that. They just don't have the cognitive skills to really understand that. They're not a legal majority to be making these decisions by themselves. So as a general rule, a cautionary sign, which is nonetheless a place where a child is invited to play, does not protect the property owner, legally speaking, from any injuries that result.
Yeah,
It just doesn't work that way.
that was really helpful, because I was, when I heard that, completely flipped my thinking on it. So here's where I'm at. This, frankly, I'm going to say it on the record, it sucks that we are going to have to spend money on a monthly basis to protect our liability. It's unfortunate that our infrastructure is at this place where we're in this situation, but we have a public safety obligation where this report says that the inspector discovered many significant hazards and exposures to risk at this facility. Things like crumbling cement under copings and walls, around joints, and throughout the skating area. Like, that's serious stuff. And the fact that we haven't had an accident or injury that's required a 911 call is a blessing. And $1,500 a month until we can figure out what we're going to do here is small compared to the millions of dollars of liability. We've talked and joked in the past that skating is a risky venture anyways, which is 100% true. But there's a base level of risk that people undertake when they do this activity, assuming that the facilities are built up to standards. And the fact that they're not at that standard, it increases the risk. And so I'm comfortable with this. I wish we didn't have to do this, and I wish we would have done it sooner. And I think we need to figure out a solution sooner. So I'm committed to finding a solution sooner rather than later, rather than keeping this in perpetuity fenced off and paying $1,500 a month. In the meantime, I'd love to communicate to our residents other adjacent communities that have skate parks, because there are many. And we have talked in the past about how our residents other cities' residents have benefited from our park space. Yeah. Well, our residents can benefit from other cities' park space until we can get them facilities that are up to standard.
So Mayor Staggs actually had asked us a couple weeks ago to start looking into that exact issue of trying to help educate our public on what are some of the other facilities in our surrounding cities. When we do the post on social media, letting people know what's happening here, I'll ask Josh to do that as well and help educate people on where some of the skate facilities are so that they know where to go.
Can we even maybe have like a QR code on the sign that says that it's closed at the skate park that can like give them a link with like a map?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Anything else?
That's it.
No, and I will say I agree with your comments. And if you have to shut something down, I've never been a skater, but I would think in the wintertime, the dead of winter, there may not be a better time to do that, and that it affords some time for the new governing body and council to determine, hopefully, set a course for what's going to happen there going forward. Councilmember Baroker and then McDougal.
Mr. Hicks, thank you very much for that presentation. You really covered the questions. I had an earlier discussion with you regarding dates and times of letters and inspections, and you really presented that information very well. I appreciate that the conversation tonight is really focused on safety for our residents and safety for our city and our fiscal responsibility. So that's what we need to focus on tonight, and make sure that our residents understand we're making this decision because we want to make sure our city stays safe for residents and for the city. Thank you.
Councilmember McDougal.
Yeah, I would just echo the same. There's been a lot of misinformation and miscommunication around the skate park. But the discussion tonight is we as fiduciaries of Riverton City's financial for all residents have an obligation of safety. Everyone has an opinion, but the professionals are saying there's a risk here. So yeah, we need to close it, and we need to, I love Councilmember Perucci's idea. Let's communicate to those who use the facility, but for the safety of our residents and for the liability protection of our city, we have a fiduciary responsibility to close it. And then take thoughtful consideration about what we're going to do in the future. It's been a wonderful park. It's 20 years old. This is not unexpected. And so I would say close it.
Thank you, Council. I think everybody's had an opportunity to speak. I don't see any other lights on. So I'll turn it back to you if you want to discuss this any further. Anybody else can be recognized, or if you'd like to proffer a motion here tonight and take any action. Councilmember McDougal.
So are you needing a motion, a formal? Okay, well.
There's a resolution.
I'm going to make a resolution then. I move that we approve resolution number 25-61, approving the Riverton City Skate Park be closed for use of the public.
Councilmember Baroker.
I'll second also.
Okay. Any discussion to that motion? And is that, in that motion, it just directs staff to take whatever step you guys wanted? Okay. I'm sorry, Councilmember Heyman, do you have discussion?
Well, yes, just I would recommend we put that up on the front of our priority list to begin to discuss what we need to do here. Paying $1,500 a month is not a huge chunk of change, but that's a decent leak that we don't need to let keep running forever. At the same time, it's not attractive to have that place fenced off with the chain link fence and so forth with front of a city park, and then of course the people of Riverton City, they're going to want to see some action on what our solution is for that. So if we can get that going on some next.
Well, it would not be on the 16th, but we will have probably the work session on January 20th. We'll plan on a pretty good in-depth conversation.
Okay, thank you.
It's as quickly as you guys want to have it. So, I mean, if we want a work session on the 16th to even start some type of discussion, you can. All right, any other discussion to that motion? None. Jamie, could you conduct a vote, please?
Councilmember McKay. No. I say we repair it. Broker?
Yes.
Haymond?
Yes, just under the idea of keeping kids safe and lawyers out of our pocketbook.
McDougal?
Yes.
Perucci?
Yeah, yes.
All right, thank you. Motion carries. Again, that motion won't preclude reparation, but that's a decision for another day, and it's going to require a little bit of money to be spent, Council, and probably a budget amendment in order to identify prospective repairers and other companies. If you want to go above and beyond, like Kevin said, the few that have already been, you've already contacted, it's up to you all. Councilmember Perucci?
Yeah, Mayor, to that point, because I mean, that vote wasn't about whether we repair it or not. The vote was whether or not we close it so that it's safe for the public. But I'd love to the point of, can we instruct staff, or I'd like to see some recommendations on repair replacement at the next work session.
We can
start on this as soon as we can.
Happy to bring some things to you on the 16th. I think what we don't want to do is look like, for lack of a better way of saying it, fools with the community where we don't know what we want, but we're just out there asking for a bunch of stuff. So the focus, I think, initially needs to be on, okay, let's get a list of what is truly needed and let's get some ideas. So to be blunt, I think probably what would be the best bet is, and we'll have some conversations with staff and the mayor, but I think maybe what we need to be looking at is this American ramp company that is offering to do a full in-depth analysis. I literally got this back from Craig today at like 4:30. He's been trying to we're actively trying to get information from people. I'd like to sit down with Craig and find out, okay, what exactly would they be doing for this 14 grand? It's on state contracts, so we wouldn't need to bid it, so that's the good news, but we also don't really know if we have the money in the budget for it. So we can at least possibly put, if the mayor's okay with it, have an item on the agenda for the 16th, simply to have a little bit of conversation, and then I think it would be an open conversation for you all to start that dialogue of, like I said earlier, where do you draw that line? How many do we go to before we ultimately say, no, we can't repair it? I don't know.
That's a good point. I think, yeah, discussion on repair versus replace, and I know there's some conversation about a triangle piece and where there's a lot of other places, and I'm glad you brought up the point, Councilmember Heyman, and you like to speak now, but I like the fact that this company in particular has done skate parks in a retention or detention pond, and that was one thing we've talked about years ago was when we saw the skate facility becoming aged, I've always thrown out an option also was the area right behind the fire station, right? And where they can design these today, I think, with sufficient drainage that allows it for dual use with the detention retention area.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Another great thing about this company, they've been very successful here working within Utah in helping other cities obtain large grants from the cities or the states, different grant offerings that they do. I forget the names of them, but they've been very successful in that. They talk about that in there, what they've been able to do to help with that, which would offset a large majority of the expenditures there. One other thing, as we look at the idea of repairing that, we've heard professional skaters, people who, they are very active in the skating community, have discussed our park. And again, while we love our skate park, and it's kind of a traditional thing there, I was talking with another skater just the other day, and he, when I heard he was active in skating, I went up and talked to him, said, hey, have you ever been here to the Riverton skate park? His thing, what he told me, in very strong words, I will explain it better, but he said the Riverton skate park is less than desirable because he says just the way it was designed, the approaches, the drops, the deep bowls, everything else, he says that is not the way skating works. And so he says from the beginning that park was not done right, and he would like to, with some different expletives, see it done better.
Okay. Thank you. Anything further?
That's everything.
Councilmember Baroker, you've got a comment?
I wanted to just add to that comment. I remember a presentation we had in 2018 from a young man who came to present to us and expressed that exact thought, that skate park really was not designed effectively and well, and was probably dangerous for skaters. So we pushed it out, I think, as long as we can.
Thank you. Council, if there's nothing further, any other comments? We have nothing left on the agenda. We do have a meeting scheduled for December 16th. I think it would be very light at this point, but given what you just brought up here tonight, we can definitely advance some more conversation on a skate facility. Councilmember Prucci, you have something?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, okay.
Dougal, second it.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you, Council.